Today we have a look at a new medical device, the closing of a popular pub, and much more.
We have today's weather forecast with Madison and a look at sports with Eli.
Today is Safer Internet Day. It is Tuesday, February 8th, 2022.
We are live from Shroyer Studio H12 on the campus of Bradley Central High School, and you are watching Vox News Today.
Welcome back. I am Alex Wingard.
And I'm Amber Filyaw.
A Navy SEAL candidate died and another remains hospitalized after completing the elite military unit's Hell Week training. The Navy says they started to show symptoms of sickness several hours after finishing the training. 24-year-old Kyle Mullen of Manalapan, New Jersey, died in the hospital Friday. He had played football at Yale University and Monmouth University, and he's being remembered as a great human being.
A tragic story out of Florida, where a woman fell to her death Sunday after a drawbridge went up as she was walking across it. Now investigators are working to figure out why it happened and who is responsible. Investigators say this horrific series of events started around 1 in the afternoon, where the woman was walking her bicycle along the bridge from the town of Palm Beach to the West Palm Beach, next to eastbound lanes. She hasn't been identified, and West Palm Beach police detectives are currently reaching out to her family.
Oh, yeah. We didn't have a story for that.
Flying a plane is already a difficult job, but flying one blindfolded is a different story. Two brothers from Miami, Florida broke the Guinness World Record for blind flight last Sunday. Lots of training and the use of simulators is what made the feat possible. Pilot Parth Panchal speaks on the fears he had while preparing for the flight with his brother. The more challenging is the psychological. The first is fear and that your eyes are closed, and now you're going to fly an airplane. He's giving me verbal commands, but I don't know where I am.
A new medical device appears to be able to help paralyzed people walk again. The results are still early, but they're so remarkable it could be a game changer. No one ever thought Michael Riccati would be able to do this. In 2017, Riccati was paralyzed after a motorcycle accident. Now he can walk about a mile without assistance thanks to his device. It sends electrical impulses to his spine. He can control it through his computer. Scientists have been researching electrical stimulation as a treatment for paralysis for 3 decades. The newest stimulator can reach more of the spinal cord and allow people to regain movement on the same day that they received the spinal implant. Within a week, 3 patients, men between the ages of 29 and 41, including Michael, were able to walk like this. Their case is detailed in a study published Monday in the journal Nature Medicine. With hours and hours of rehabilitation for 5 months, the patients were walking, riding bikes, and even boxing. The research is still early. They've tried it out only on 3 patients. They hope that if the device performs well in these tests, that it will be widely used in the next 3 to 4 years.
In Texas, Democrats are calling for a Harris County GOP precinct chair to step down. This after she made controversial proposals to the county party platform. Meanwhile, the county GOP advisory board is condemning the proposals as offensive. Resolutions for 2022. This is the list of 8 items authored by Carla Richburg as a proposal for the Harris County GOP to adopt as political platform. They include reducing gay marriage to civil union, labeling all Chinese nationalists as spies and forcibly removing them from the country, and wage war on all invaders at the Texas border by deadly force. The Harris County Republican Party Advisory Board, hammering down on this list from one of their own, saying in part, "We anonymously condemn the tone and content of this resolution as being offensive to the values of the Republican Party." The Harris County Democrats, though, say condemning this list is not enough. They want to see Carla Richburg out of office. But as a Republican strategist says, not so fast. I spoke with her husband by phone tonight, telling me they were not aware of the backlash or calls for resignation, saying my wife is not a bad person. What she intended was maybe not so well stated.
We Don't Talk About Bruno is the first song from an animated Disney musical ever to hit #1 on the Billboard for a second week in a row. One person stated, "I think the fun of it is that's a very universal experience of in every family. There's the things you can talk about at dinner and the things you can talk about if this person's not around. And so the notion of this thing we don't talk about, but we're obsessed with talking about it because we're not allowed to talk about it."
A unified NATO is telling Russia, stay out of Ukraine, don't even think about invading a NATO ally. NATO relies on momentum, and a lot of the momentum is generated by a sense of threat and fear, said Andrea Kendall-Taylor, a former senior intelligence officer dealing with Russia. NATO is especially important now for those states bordering Russia, like Baltic nations and Poland, a country which has had deepening strains with its European partners over the protection of core democratic principles, which Brussels accused the government in Warsaw of eroding.
Ye Olde Fighting Cocks in St. Albans, just north of London, claims it's been open since the year 793. If that's true, it means the establishment survived the Black Death plague that ravaged Europe. The owner blames COVID-19 for making conditions too difficult to remain open. He admits things were getting tough even before the pandemic, though. In fact, a quarter of the United Kingdom's pubs closed between 2008 and 2018 as people ditched them to drink in restaurants or at home. Ye Olde Fighting Cocks is named after the 11th century building it is located in, which used to host cockfights.
Impacted vehicles include 2021 and 2022 model XS3 and Y. The problem is the seatbelt chime fails to sound in some Teslas when a driver exits the vehicle while it is ringing and then re-enters. Since that chime is controlled by software, Tesla plans to fix the issue by sending an over-the-air update. That means owners will not have to bring their vehicles to a service center for the fix. It marks the second time this week Tesla has issued a recall. The first was related to a problem with the company's self-driving software that let vehicles in its pilot program roll through stop signs without coming to a complete stop.
And now let's check on our weather. Madison, what can you tell us?
Today began with temperatures in the 20s, but it will warm up this afternoon. All of that and more right after this break. I can't talk.
College already.
Yeah. We gotta go.
I love you.
I love you too, Daddy. And thanks for everything.
Gratitude. Pass it on. A message from the Foundation for a Better Life.
awful. Seriously, awful. But a lot better than last week.
We weren't born to follow. Final round. Fight.
Welcome back. I'm Madison Johnston with your weather, and let's take a look at our weather at glance. Right now it's 24 degrees with a high of 53 and a low of 28. Precipitation is at 1% and the wind is at 1 mile per hour. Humidity is 100% and the dew point is at 24 degrees. The pressure is 30.28 inches. Visibility is 9 miles and the UV index is great, 0 out of 10. And now let's look at our local radar. Right now there's nothing in the area, so it's all clear. And now let's look at our national radar. There are storms moving across Florida, and there are snow and ice storms moving at the Canadian border. And let's look at our 7-day weather. Wednesday will be a high of 59 and a low of 32 with sunny skies. Thursday will be mostly sunny with a high of 61 and a low of 32. Friday will also be sunny with a high of 64 and a low of 28. Saturday will be partly cloudy with a high of 59 and a low of 30. Sunday will be partly cloudy with a high of 43 and a low of 20. And Monday will be sunny with a high of 49 and a low of 21. That's all I have for weather, and now here's Eli with your sports.
If you missed the men's Mox basketball game or some more Olympics, we will have coverage on that and more after this commercial break.
Well, you're wrong.
I'm wrong. You're the one who misrepresented the facts.
Misrepresent the facts? Are you kidding?
Your proposal's ludicrous.
My proposal will go exactly the way I say it will.
My dead body.
I think somebody needs a timeout.
Oh, that's the power of one.
Civility. Pass it on.
One grain of sand can turn the tide.
Strike one. I'm the greatest hitter in the world! Strike two. I'm the greatest hitter in the world! Strike 3.
Wow. I'm the greatest pitcher in the world.
Optimism. Pass it on. A message from the Foundation for a Better Life.
Welcome back. I'm Eli Dunn with your sports. The Chattanooga Mocs captured a 74-72 overtime win over Mercer in Hawkins Arena last night. Mocs are 20-5, 10-2 in the Southern Conference. The Bears moved to 13-12, 6-6 in the league. 99th overtime game in school history with the 54-45 mark. 45th time in a regular season SoCon game, going 25 of 20. In those instances, 5th time in the 8 years Mercer has been a SoCon member. The game in Macon was extended into extra time 2-3 in the 5 contests. As the Golden State Warriors took on the Oklahoma City Thunder on Monday, Klay Thompson said he tried not to think of the night 6 years ago when he torched the Thunder, knocking down 11 three-pointers in the Western Conference Finals, but as he knocked down 2 back-to-back threes to seal the Golden State's 110-98 win, it was hard for him not to go back to that Game 6 performance. Back in 2016, he even repeated the same words he said all those years ago, "This is my house." Beijing Winter Olympics mascot Bing Duen Duen is a big hit at the games. The mascots are inflicting huge cheers from crowds sometimes louder than those heard for athletes. Competing Bing Duen Duen can be easily spotted at event sites in the stands or signage and on flags. While stuffed BDDs are given to the medalists, there are reports that souvenir shops are already sold out. And before we send off back to News Desk, we would like to wish luck to the Bears and Barrett's night game against Walker Valley. That is all I have for sports. Stay tuned for more news after this break.
CRCC to me is a calling that God placed on my life to really step out in faith on something that I didn't think I could do, and it's been amazing to see how God's worked through it.
CRCC stands for Crossroads Community Church, but we're a church that our vision is to be a life-giving church in our community. We do that through helping people know God, find freedom, discover their purpose, and then go make a difference. And so that's what we're doing every week, is helping people discover their jam and go make a difference.
We broke Old Man Hennessy's window.
Correction, dude. You broke. I just threw the ball.
This is really bad. What are we gonna do?
Dude, kiss your life goodbye.
Yeah.
Sorry, kid.
Keep smiling, keep shining. No,
Hi. Tell him it was an accident, and we can fix the window. I'll come with you.
that's what friends are for.
Welcome back.
Peloton is shaking up its business. The flailing fitness company is replacing embattled CEO John Foley effective Tuesday. Barry McCarthy, the former chief financial officer of Spotify and Netflix, is taking over. Foley will stay on its regulating chair. Peloton is also laying off about 2,800 corporate workers and reducing the number of warehouses it owns and operates. The on-camera instructors and content won't be impacted by the changes.
At least 8 people were harmed Tuesday morning when a New Jersey bus ran off a highway. It happened in Hamilton, which is about 35 miles from Philadelphia. The New Jersey transit bus lost control in the Atlantic City Expressway and crashed into trees on the side of the road. Officials say at least 10 people trapped on the bus had to be rescued. The bus was headed for Philadelphia from Atlantic City.
The parents of a teenager who is accused of killing 4 students at a Michigan school face a key hearing to determine if they will face trial. The Crumbleys are charged with involuntary manslaughter. They're accused of making a gun accessible to Ethan Crumbley and failing to intervene when he showed signs of mental distress. Their attorneys insist the Crumbleys didn't know that a shooting was in the works and didn't make the gun easy to find at home. The high school, roughly 30 miles north of Detroit, reopened on January 24th, nearly 2 months after the shooting.
A father and son auto repair duo in Morro Bay, California, is finding new ways to keep up with the demand of its new cat armor devices for 2004 to 2017 Toyota Priuses. The device is said to protect against rising thefts of catalytic converters from vehicles. Appointments at the shop are fully booked until March, after a large amount of interest from people who heard about his device. Todd says typically anti-theft catalytic converters devices take about an hour to install, but his device takes 3 minutes. He says his work is not done yet and he's just getting started.
An investigation is underway after police shot and killed a man suspected of stabbing someone in Phoenix. Officers responding to the scene Monday found the 30-year-old suspect at an intersection with a knife. He reportedly refused orders to drop the weapon, prompting an officer to open fire. The man was taken to the hospital and later died from his injuries. The officer who opened fire will be placed on administrative leave as the incident is investigated. No officers were injured in the shooting.
A second guilty plea is made in connection to the 2020 foiled plot to kidnap Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer. Caleb Franks has signed the agreement that says he would plead guilty to a kidnapping conspiracy charge. The single count carries a maximum life sentence, but the plea deal says prosecutors will not seek such a drastic penalty due to his cooperation with authorities. This move comes about a month before the criminal trial against Frank's alleged co-conspirators is set to start. According to the indictment, 6 men, including Franks, were planning to kidnap Whitmer and hold her until a ransom was paid. Co-defendant Ty Garbing, who pleaded guilty last January, received a 6-year prison sentence.
Let's go fly a kite, up to the highest height. The simple act of flying a kite is closely associated with spring weather and wholesome family fun. And February 8th is the perfect day to enjoy it because it marks National Kite Flying Day. Kites date back to 470 BC in China, but nobody is quite sure exactly why people started flying them. Some say they were used to spy on enemies or send messages. Evidence shows people of the South Sea Islands used them to fish.
7 people died in a 48-hour span over the weekend in St. Louis, Missouri, from fentanyl overdoses. The victims were all found at or near the same apartment complex. The St. Louis Fire Department said in all, 7 men and 1 woman began overdosing in the same area lined by apartment buildings and medical offices just after 3 a.m. Saturday. 2 other men suspected of overdosing were taken to a hospital but survived. St. Louis police and federal authorities are investigating whether all the cases are connected.
Peloton is shaking up its business. Oh, this one's a different. Is replacing embattled CEO John Foley. Effective Tuesday, Barry McCarthy, the former chief financial officer of Spotify and Netflix, is taking over. Foley will stay on its executive chair. Peloton is also laying off about 2,800 corporate employees and reducing the number of warehouses it owns and operates. The on-camera instructors and content won't be impacted by these changes. These initiatives indicate Peloton is planning to stay independent, after reports that Apple, Amazon, and Nike were exploring bids to buy the company.
A babysitter in Texas is accused of shaking and throwing an infant across the room, causing severe injuries. Micah Hatfield spoke with the mother of the baby, who is now fighting for his life. Court documents say Lopez Vasquez eventually told investigators that she lost it when the 5-month-old would not stop crying. She said she shook the baby vigorously and threw Adrian out of frustration at least 6 feet. When he hit the ground, court documents saying his eyes rolled back, he was seizing and stopped breathing. Lopez Vazquez is now charged in serious bodily injury to a child. What the future holds for baby Adrian, his mother is not sure yet. He's scheduled for a second surgery this week at Texans Children's. The babysitter is being held on jail on a $200,000 bond.
At least 8 people were injured Tuesday morning when a New Jersey bus ran off a highway. It happened in Hamilton, which is about 35 miles away from Philadelphia. The New Jersey Transit bus lost control on the Atlantic City Expressway and crashed into trees on the side of the road. Authorities say at least 10 people trapped on the bus had to be rescued. The bus was headed for Philadelphia from Atlantic City.
Olympic superstar Eileen Gu won gold in the women's free ski big air finale at Winter Games in Beijing on Tuesday. She jumped into top position with her third run. Tess Ludix of France took silver and Mathilde Grimmid of Switzerland won bronze. In a controversial move, Gu, who is 18, decided to represent her Mouthers native China instead of the U.S., the country of her birth, in the Games.
The internet has been an amazing invention that has undoubtedly changed the world in more ways than we can think of. Not all of those ways, unfortunately, have been positive. We can connect to people faster, find things easier, and transfer information at the speed of light. These very boons of communication can become the bane of safety. So much of our private lives and information get transferred over the internet. Safer Internet Day reminds us to protect ourselves from the dangers there and make the internet a little safer for everyone. Know what to do if you see cases of cyberbullying, how to connect with and communicate with people all over the world in areas of shared interests. Make sure your identity is solidly protected and that the people who are in your life are protected as well.
It is also School Counseling Week. They are there when we are trying to make important decisions about our educational future and when we are experiencing some of the more difficult parts of growing up. These hardworking professionals serve multiple roles in the education system, the most important which is the assistance they provide to students who are struggling with school life. School Counseling Week is there to celebrate these professionals and raise awareness of the support they can provide to students and parents alike. As a student, the best way to celebrate School Counseling Week is to schedule an appointment with your counselor, both to thank them for all they do and for getting a little insight for what your future may hold. As a parent or educator, you can ensure that these noble heroes don't get forgotten at this time of year by arranging a special celebration for your school's counselors. And remember, when times get hard, you can always look to your school counselor for assistance, not just during School Counseling Week.
You're on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube through our channel BCHS VOX News.
You will also find more online at our website, voxnews.net.
Remind your friends to like, subscribe, share, and tune in.
You just cannot get enough of Vox.
That is all we have for you today from Studio H12 at Bradley Central.
And as always,
God bless and go Bears.